Hi there, I'm Alex from the Southern Ukulele Store and welcome to another year, another top 10 of the year video. Previous winners include the AnueNue UT200, the Snail S60 and last year's winner, the Flight A10 series. But what's going to win this year? What's going to knock it out the park? What ukulele came in and was just undeniably the top uke of the year? As I always say every year, this is just a list that reflects the views of the staff of the Southern Ukulele Store as well as people I've polled on social media. So that really does include a pool that's our customer base. If you're not one of our customers and you're watching this and you're going, well, they didn't include the Brunswick BU4C or the Lanakai, I don't know, SU, you know what I mean, then that's because we don't have it, we don't sell it. That's okay. But our top 10 list includes ukuleles that we stock at Southern Ukulele Store, stuff we are experienced in and stuff that we are passionate about. So the top 10 list this year ranges radically. Trust me, you're going to be in for a wild ride, so maybe get the kettle on. I don't know what it is you do, but sit down, join me. Here's the top 10. Number 10 this year is a ukulele that I don't have to hand to show you, but I'd really love to show you. So we're going to have to take a step back in time to the end of summer when it was warm enough that I could go to the pub up the road from the shop and shoot some gorgeous B-roll of this ukulele on a table in the beer garden. This ukulele was made by a guy called Kavai. Really cool luthier, originally from Hawaii, based in California, building Coast ukuleles. And the first two Coast ukuleles we received really stood out. They are definitely both worthy of being in the top 10 of the year, but we had to choose the Live Edge sound hole model, the Koa one. You remember it. If you watch all of our videos, you'll remember it. Anyway, I'm going to go back in time now to when I was a little bit chubbier, and we're going to talk about the Coast Live Edge Koa Tenor. I'm all fired up. I'm fired up to talk about this ukulele. This ukulele, I put a picture of it on social media probably 2-3 weeks back when I first found out that it was ready, and the amount of people that messaged me privately to say, I need to know more about this ukulele right now. It was a really heartwarming thing for me because I just love when something comes along and it inspires people, and it's clear that regardless of how you feel about live edge instruments, to see one that's well made like this is just a joy. So this is a solid Hawaiian Koa top, back and sides with a live edge. What's a live edge? Well, this is, there's no like particular sound hole cut into this instrument. It's been made using the kind of ends of two pieces of Koa put together. It's the natural conclusion to a piece of wood that has been milled. God, I hope I've worded that well. Hopefully you know what I mean. It should be quite self-explanatory. Mokolua Island inlay. So this is a limited inlay that Kavai's used on several different ukuleles this year, but he's only using it in the year 2022. And you can just see the sea, the sky, just a really beautiful inlay at the end of what is already a stunning instrument. I think we've seen enough. Let's give this ukulele a play and see what you think. 4.
Yeah, it was alright, wasn't it?
That was alright.
Number 9 this year is a ukulele that has that kind of goth, emo, My Chemical Romance, Johnny Cash and everything in between nature to it. It's the Flight Nighthawk ukulele. Now Flight are cheating a bit because they released probably more than 10 new models this year in a year when many other brands didn't really release anything new at all. But the Nighthawk stood out. It was a model that seemed to really capture a part of the audience, the ukulele playing public that wanted a serious instrument with solid woods but had that, you know, that darker edge to it, quite literally. Not to mention that electric blue trim, the electric blue binding, which I personally thought no one would like. When Juliana and Primos at Flight sent me pictures of the Nighthawk, I said, oh, it's cool, but I didn't think inside it would catch on, and I was so wrong. And personally, I need to apologise for that. So number 9 this year is the Nighthawk. Please do also take a look at the Peter Moss models, which share a similar aesthetic, and the upcoming Iris models, which I'm sure will be a contender for the list next year. Number 8 on the list this year is this blue fellow here. This is the Enya EUC-MS. A part of me, selfishly, always feels a bit worried about featuring Enya because lots of people associate Enya with big box retailers like Amazon and not necessarily with specialist music shops. Enya, to their credit, are introducing models that seem to just capture the imagination of the ukulele players out there. Now, we all love blue. Blue and ukulele seem to go hand in hand. Maybe it's the ocean thing. Maybe we're just all a little bit tarty. Who knows? I'm certainly guilty of that. But the EUC-MS is all solid mahogany and very, very affordable. If you're after your first serious ukulele, but your budget is well under £200 at the time of filming, this ukulele is great. Comes with a good gig bag, satin finish, which I personally really like on more affordable instruments. Gloss certainly looks more impressive, but a satin finish gives it more of a lively, open sound. You can kind of hear more of the bass, and you can hear a little bit more of the rounded nature of the wood, which, especially with mahogany, is really, really important. The nut is slightly wider on this. The neck carve feels different to other ukuleles at this price. It has a really nice flowery inlay, which is dainty and pink, but not too garish and over the top. So yeah, overall a win, and not something many of you were expecting in the top 10 this year. But for those out there looking for a new ukulele, or for those out there looking to really take the ukulele seriously for the first time, check out the Enya EUC-MS on the Southern Ukulele Store website. There'll be a link in the description. Okay, at number 7 and 7.5 this year, that's right, I add numbers now. We have the Millar Phil T and the Gunsy T. Now these two ukuleles were spec'd up by Phil and Guns. They were the wood combinations of choice of these two guys. We said, you know, if you could have a uke made of anything, what would you have? Both guys are really big fans of Millar. We've had several customers from Millar this year that really deserve mentions. If I had time to make a top 100 video or a top 50 video, perhaps even a top 12 video, you would have seen more than just these customs featured. Phil went for a redwood and walnut ukulele. Redwood and walnut ukulele. Redwood is very similar to cedar in tone, but has a completely unique look. I think it naturally comes up quite a bit darker, but it has the same straight grain and kind of open pore nature of cedar. Obviously this is glossed over, and the walnut back and sides, also North American walnut, gives this whole thing an almost Manu light quality to it. If you're not sure what Manu is, then keep watching, you'll find out later in the video. And the sound is open, it's like a classical guitar on steroids, which is quite an ask from a ukulele. Phil himself probably does this more justice than I ever could, so we're going to have a look at this one in a moment, and I'm just going to talk briefly about the Gunsy T. The Gunsy T is made from spruce and spalted maple. Really sexy looking quilted spalted maple. Ignore my duck in the background there. You have purple binding because Gunsy just loves purple. We even do a matching strap to go with this ukulele, that's how much we like it. And just Millar in general, the build quality, getting something that feels like a custom shop luthier built instrument for a fraction of the price. Well done. These two ukuleles deserve to be on the list. Which one would you put at 7? Which one would you put at 7.5? Let me know in the comment section. At number 6 this year, we have a ukulele that I'm pretty sure none of you would have expected to make the list. It's something that I featured in one video very early on in the year, but since then, every time they've come in, we've quietly sold them and they've made people happy. And so many of the people that have bought these have come back to me and said, oh, I've tried these strings on them, they sound great. And so many people have come in with higher budgets, maybe looking at a Flight Fireball, and then saying, well, I also want to have a look at the UMA because of this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I gave the game away. It's an UMA ukulele. This ukulele, at number 6, is the UK-30ST EVO, which we'll all agree, it's not going to win any awards for its names. It hasn't got that punch that a Mustang or a Fireball has. If they call this ukulele the Zorro or something like that, I guarantee that more of you would have heard of it. Maybe it's a cool thing. Maybe it's cool that it doesn't have a really cool name because the ukulele itself does all the talking. It's made of all solid acacia. So it doesn't matter how you look at it, each one is unique. We list them individually for that reason. Has a maple rosette and looks eerily reminiscent of the Kanile'a K3 model. If you're somebody who dreams of that Hawaiian K-brand ukulele, the K3 is one of the more popular Kanile'a models, but you know, on a budget, this is the next best thing for sure. Has a 38mm nut width with a gloss neck. It feels like a premium ukulele with the wide string spacing which so many of you are looking for. There could be a debate, there could be an entire video just about how trends have changed and most people seem to be looking for a wider nut width right now. But there are a few options out there. Most of the options you'll have around that £300–400 price point will not have this wide nut width, and that alone makes the UMA UK-30ST EVO stand out. It also has a slotted headstock with geared tuners, comes in a really nice padded gig bag, and it will put a smile on your face. There's no reason not to put this in the top 10 list this year, and I'm hoping by featuring it as we have, more of you now will take a look at this ukulele. Let's give this a play and see what you think. At number 5 this year, we have last year's number 2. We have the Flight Carabao ukuleles. These are exclusive ukuleles spec'd up by me, so I am biased. It's okay, I'm allowed to be biased. They are really cool. Many people like them. But what we did differently this year was we had them introduced in a soprano and a baritone size, and to our infinite surprise, they sold out in days. As I film this, I'm waiting for the next delivery of the Carabao sopranos and baritones to come, but they have really stood out. People have come from far and wide to try them. They've taken a Carabao over something much more expensive, much more glamorous. It's a bare-bone ukulele when you look at the front. It's a spruce top with slight sound hole decoration, and you have the mango back and sides. But the mango back and sides make it for me. They give it that warmth, they give it an edge that the acacia back and sides on the Voyager and the laminate rosewood back and sides on the Aurora just simply don't do. Now, they are good ukuleles as well. Both of those ukuleles are worth your attention, so have a look at some of our other videos for them. But number 5 this year is the Flight Carabao soprano / baritone. At number 4 this year, we have a ukulele that I hold near and dear to my heart. I couldn't hold this ukulele any tighter if I tried without owning it. This is the Kanile'a Manu custom ukuleles. We made 5 of these with Kanile'a this year. One of them is mine, and it's a ukulele I spec'd up based on initially the 2017 Kanile'a Platinum, which was a super concert that had a torrefied spruce top with walnut back and sides, and it was just amazing. Although there's not really much DNA shared with the Hummingbird, this ukulele is instantly recognizable, and I really hope in the weeks, months, years and decades to come that it will become a much bigger thing than just this artist ukulele. The Manu is curly redwood on the top, so American redwood, a wood that tonally mirrors cedar quite a lot, but has a unique look to it, and this kind of burled effect, quilting effect, it's just unique on each one. And I love that about Kanile'a's koa ukuleles, I love that about Monaco's, and I felt like if we were going to produce a new model that had a classical guitar style top to it, I wanted it to still have that uniqueness, that ukulele aesthetic that guitars struggle to replicate without looking a bit tacky, and I don't think this looks tacky at all. I'm also a big fan of binding and sound hole rosette, so it does have a cream ivoryed, plastic, like fake ivory front binding, and a sound hole rosette which is lightly aged actually. It's almost yellow already, really old looking. Still have an ebony bridge, and then we move on to the back and sides. The back and sides are Claro walnut, which is a wood that I fell in love with because of Kanile'a. So back at the 2017 NAMM show, the first NAMM show I attended, the platinum model that year was a super concert made of torrefied spruce and this Claro walnut. And it was punchy and it was loud, but it had depth, and it retained all of the kind of nuance for finger picking. And you never really see that on a super concert. You never really see that on a concert body. And I just loved it, and I really wanted to hear how it felt in a tenor size. So they actually made us a tenor one of these ukuleles back in 2019, not the same spec, but a Claro walnut back and sides, and wow, it was amazing. So moving it onto a baritone felt like the next step for me. So tenors and baritones, Claro walnut as a back and sides is a fantastic substitute for something like ebony or rosewood. It's not quite as bright. It has a tiny bit more of the kind of lower mid-range register, which pairs perfectly, I think, with a redwood top, because you're getting volume, but you're also getting depth and texture and character, and all those things that people think I'm a bit strange for trying to describe, but you try communicating sound without using words. This is the custom shop ukulele for Southern Ukulele Store from Kanile'a for 2022, limited to 5 pieces. I was delighted actually. I was always going to feature this in the top 10 of the year, but this tenor turned up just yesterday, the day before I was going to film, and it's here for you now, so I'm going to play it for you. Hope you love it too. Sometimes the most obvious progression is the simplest. We've seen so many brands over the last 5-6 years take spruce and make it a popular ukulele wood. We've seen so many brands take cedar, make it popular. Taking the ukulele out of its comfort zone of mahogany and koa and variants of koa, it's quite a new thing. It's not something that you've been watching happen for the last 100 years. It's not like the guitar where these things were popularized generations ago and we just know that they're there. But we do take it for granted. And the first ukulele that really popularized the spruce top at the high end was AnueNue and the Moonbird. And you can see in the corner of the screen here that this looks a bit like a Moonbird, just a bit more orange. And wow, the difference in sound that you get. I'm going to show you a clip in a moment that compares a Moonbird and the Cedarbird, which is what we've got here, also known as the AnueNue UT214. If the Moonbird changed the perspective of a high-end ukulele for many, many people, then the Cedarbird is reinventing the wheel, and sometimes it's just cool to have a different wheel. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? So the UT214, I'm going to take you back to a sound sample from a few months ago now, rather than play it here for you today, and we'll see what you think. At number 2 this year, we have a ukulele that really divides opinion. Some people just look at them and go, that's not a ukulele. And some people look at them and they feel like they've seen the future. So however you want to look at it, number 2 this year, in terms of popularity, has to be the Flight Vanguard ukulele. This is the second incarnation of Flight's rock series, with last year the Pathfinder and Centurion being introduced, but nobody expected them to come out with something quite like this. It's a luxurious, it's a take on a famous American luthier built electric guitar series. It has deluxe features to it that you don't really find on the Pathfinder or on the Centurion, just like the electric guitar equivalents. The body is contoured. It's contoured on the front and the back, so it fits nicer to the body. It's slightly heavier. I find that the Vanguards have a little bit more sustain than the previous models. But yeah, the Vanguard, number 2 on this year's list, and I can't wait to see what the Flight Rock series will bring in 2023. Alright folks, it's been a long journey here, but we're nearly there. It's time to have a look at the winner. But first, as we did last year, it was very popular, we're going to take a look at the public vote. If this video was being made by you folks at home, based on the votes you cast, how would it go? Number 10, the Flight Peter Moss. Now, on popularity, The Peter Moss ukulele absolutely could have been in the top 10 of this year, but we had to weigh it up because you've got the Nighthawk and you've got the Peter Moss ukulele. Very similar things released at the same time. The Nighthawk was just that little bit more popular. The Peter Moss ukulele, though, very good ukulele. Well done, Peter. I'm sure you're very proud to have your name attached to that instrument. The Nighthawk came in number 9. It shared exactly the same amount of votes as the Peter Moss, which just emphasises the point I've just made. I had to pick one. Otherwise, the video would get very repetitive, so I chose the Nighthawk. At number 8, we've got the Kanile'a Manu series, which, you know, we only really featured in one video with no speaking, and they sold the week they arrived earlier in the year. The second batch has just come in at the time of filming. I love these. It's probably the highlight of my 14 year career working with ukuleles, was designing this instrument and playing it. So yeah, I'm glad it's made the public top 10. Number 7, the AnueNue UT-214. Really impressive. This ukulele, the votes for this, you know, they came in thick and fast. For a while it was actually number 1. It's only really since Flight heard about this social media poll that the results changed drastically. You've got at number 6 the Millar, Phil and Gunsy, pretty much the same as what we've done in the video ourselves. Fantastic ukuleles, customs from Millar. Proud to have them associated with us here at the Southern Ukulele Store. At number 5, the Flight Vanguard. The Flight Vanguard is going to differ opinion. The fact that Marmite could ever be in the top 5 of anything is testament to just how many people do love that quirky alternative instrument. Number 4, the l.luthier S. Well, that's a very good point. Why have we not featured the l.luthier S in the top 10 this year? Number 3, the Owlcraft Customs with 6.7% of the vote. Lots and lots of people love Yungte and Seiyunna's ukuleles. We love them too. Actually, I put one here. I nearly featured them in the top 10, but because they're one-off customs that will never be repeated, I just felt like it was a missed opportunity for something that maybe more people could fall in love with, whereas these are very kind of bespoke, high-end things. Totally deserving of a place in the top 10. Thank you for putting them in your top 3. Number 2, the Coast Live Edge Tenor with the same amount of votes as the Owlcraft Customs. You folks have expensive tastes and I respect that. The Coast Live Edge Koa Tenor was fantastic. I can't wait to get more in next year and see what Kavai and his children at Coast can produce. And then number 1, you guys voted for the Flight Carabao series, which I would have loved to make number 1. I wanted to do it last year, but I didn't want to be too biased. I wanted to do it this year, but I didn't want to be too biased. Undeniably the most popular individual series of ukuleles that we've ever had at the Southern Ukulele Store. Look forward to getting more of them in early 2023. Lots of you on the waiting list for them, and if the public was voting for this video, that's what I'd be talking about. But the public did not make this video. I made this video. It's all about me, folks, and what I decided and the team here at Southern Ukulele Store decided to put at number 1 this year was the l.luthier S. I'm going to tell you a story about the first l.luthier ukuleles that arrived at SUS. I got them out of the box just as a couple of customers walked in the shop. It was Ray and Charles, 2 brothers from the Midlands who always put a smile on our face. They've been in the shop a few times now and we really enjoy their company. They came in, and despite us and them learning all about these ukuleles for the first time together, they both walked out with them. And then later that day, another guy came in to try an AnueNue UT200, and instead he walked out with one of these. And that's happened quite a few times this year. We have been desperately trying to get some stock ready to launch this video. So at the time of filming, there is stock available. You can see links in the description. But otherwise, the only downside to featuring this at number 1 is the fear that other shops will now learn just how friggin' fantastic these ukuleles are. I'm going to play the l.luthier S for you now. Do you agree? Is it the winner? Is it your winner? Well, your individual winner. We know what you think as a collective hive mind. Let us know in the comments section. This is the l.luthier S. We made it to the end, folks. I made 45 videos for the Southern Ukulele Store this year, and you watched all of them. Thank you so much for your support, your kind words, your encouragement. I absolutely love getting to film these videos and talk about ukuleles for you all and play my part for the wider ukulele and ukulele community. I'd be really grateful if you subscribe to the Sus channel, like some videos, check out my Ukes with Alex channel. Thank you so much again on behalf of the whole team here at Sus. I love you. Goodbye. Somehow scattered in the air. From time to time I breathe the fragment in. You are just a feeling now to me. My imagination fills the details in. Well, they say youth is wasted on the young. Someone should have warned me that I'd be feeling this. I'm speechless. A decade separates our souls in a different light.
Wow.
Should I keep that for the outtakes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.